He's a good man.
I just asked him a couple things that would help everybody. I told him that because she said she's on board. I said I'm on board. So you got the votes. I said, but I'm happy.
Well,
But I was just asking him, like I told him I wanted to show everybody in court like what they currently got now and what they're going to need, because they kind of gave us some numbers and stuff, and then what they're asking for specifically, what they're going to do with the money, and then my main thing was I wanted to make sure Justin was in charge of all this, because I didn't want him to fight over the money, and that's once we know Justin's in charge of it, it's actually a Bullitt County official thing.
Hey, did you want me to ask Anna, the motor vehicle supervisor, to come over whenever we're talking about the offer and stuff to see?
I don't know how deep we're getting into that offer. I didn't know it was on. Are we getting very deep in that, or just kind of talking about it a little bit?
we can talk about it. We don't have to vote on it today.
You could do it. I could ask.
Just saying if y'all have any questions or whatever, she can answer.
Yeah, I think we do. She's free.
Yeah. See, they're leaving it up to each individual county.
Yeah.
So if we don't do it, Nelson does it. You're in one of Nelson, you come through Bullitt and you
I
get
don't have a
blocked
problem
up.
with it, but there's like she said right now, this law hadn't passed. Is it passed?
Oh yeah, it's passed.
She said they haven't they're not aware of of it even being legal. I told her, I said, I think the law's already passed. It's just not in the county.
Right.
But I was wondering about the revenue. Some of these sites are $30,000, but they have to
Pay tax.
license and sales tax every year like a vehicle.
Right. Yeah.
So we could get revenue, but it needs to be on. They don't need to be on state roads, maybe cross over. Say from coming up on some out of bicycle or
Right.
scooter or
Something like
there
that.
needs to be limitations. They can't just be free.
Yep.
I don't know what other counties are doing. I haven't heard.
Well, good morning and welcome to the Bullitt County Fiscal Court. Today is May 20th. It's 9:30, and at this time, Pastor Jeremy Willis, from Journey, if you'll come up here and lead us in the invocation and the pledge, please, sir.
Please stand for the pledge first. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, if you please bow your heads for a quick prayer. Father God, we thank you for this day of life you've given us. Father, we lift up all the communities and all the people that have been affected by the storms recently. God, we pray for protection even in the storms that we may face today. God, we thank you for the blessing that you have poured out upon this community, upon this county. God, we pray for continued guidance and wisdom for our leaders and elected officials. God, in a time where there seems to be so much division, we pray for a sense of unity, a spirit of unity and peace within our community. And God, we just pray that you continue to give us wisdom and strength as we continue to grow. God, we thank you for your love. We thank you for your grace. We thank you for your mercy. And we thank you for all the gifts that you've given us. In your son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Could we stand just for another second, just take another 10-minute moment of silence for those in southern Kentucky, and especially London, in that area, just maybe about 10 seconds. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
We met with the EMS yesterday, Mary and myself, and we just talked briefly just how lucky we were and how we were spared in this area when you look and see some of the devastation across the state. So I just wanted to take that moment because we really have been lucky here.
All right, Jeremy, thank you. And I just happened to pay them a visit down there Saturday in both Pulaski and Wayne County both. They had no power, and they still have no power as we speak today. Okay, Sam, would you call the roll, please, to bring the court to order?
Yes, sir. Vera Sanders. Sean Logston.
Here.
Karen Johnson. Here. Brian Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes,
All present.
thank you. The approval of the minutes for the May 6, 2025 Bullitt County Fiscal Court meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes for May 6, 2025.
I'll second.
Got a motion by 1st District Magistrate Sanders, a second by 3rd District Magistrate Johnson to approve the minutes of the Bullitt County Fiscal Court meeting of May 6th of 2025. Sam, call the roll, please.
Logston.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Bleemel.
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes,
Sanders.
Yes.
Motion carried.
thank you. The Treasurer's Transfer Report.
Yes, that was dated for May the 20th of 2025.
I'll make a motion that we accept the treasurer's transfer report as presented.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Second District Magistrate Logston, a second by First District Magistrate Sanders to approve the treasurer's transfer report as presented. Sam, call the roll, please.
Johnson?
Yes.
Bleemel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes,
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Motion carried.
thank you. The presentation and approval of all bills.
I'll make a motion that we approve all bills as presented. Second.
Got a motion by Second District Magistrate Logston, a second by Fourth District Magistrate Bleemel to approve the bills as presented. Sam, call the roll, please.
Bleemel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes,
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Motion carried.
thank you. Treasurer's report.
Yes, your appropriation condition report, a revenue condition report, and a financial statement through April the 30th of 2025 for your approval.
I'll make a motion, we accept the treasurer's report.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Fourth District Magistrate Bleemel, a second by Third District Magistrate Johnson to approve the treasurer's report as presented. Sam, call the roll.
Judge Summers?
Yes,
Sanders?
Yes.
Logston?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Bleemel?
Yes.
Motion carried.
thank you. Guest speakers, Windstream or Cadet? Morning.
I'll introduce myself while Candy gets that up. My name's Patrick Nickerson. I'm Windstream's or Kinetics primary business consultant for the region from Bullitt County, Hardin County, all the way down to Scottsville. My presentation today is pretty much a phase 2 of what we did about a year ago when it came to the phone service, switching over from Spectrum to Kinetics phones. Now phase 2 is going to be switching over from Spectrum's internet to Kinetics fiber. So, Candy, if you will, I guess you can go to the next one. So this is going to be 6 locations phased over. So the first one would be the fiscal court building, this one, the road department, Bullitt County Detention Center, planning and zoning, Bullitt County EMS, and then the health department. These are all locations currently on Spectrum Fiber that we would hope, if given approval, that we would be able to transition over to Kinetic Fiber. You can go to the next one, Candy. So currently with Spectrum, you have 6 locations. It is called an Ethernet ELAN point-to-point. The service is a little bit different than what we would be offering. Point-to-point makes this fiscal court a central location for the fiber, meaning if something was to happen for the fiber here, it would cut off all other 5 locations. So what we're proposing is to run 6 individual fibers to 6 individual locations, creating some redundancy in the sense that if fiber was to go out at one location, not everybody is out of fiber at the others. Now, your monthly service with Spectrum, currently before tax, this is just services, is $4,160 a month. Your annual spend is $49,920 for fiber. If we can go to the next one, Candy. Thank you. So this is going to be our proposal. Sorry for the small print, but I have laid out each individual location, the total cost in which it will cost you. So essentially, solid waste, Bullitt County Road Department, all listed there, and then the costs associated with them. These added up over the course of a month is $2,719.94. If we can go to the next one. So this is a breakdown of each location. The reason I did this is that way if you guys want to thoroughly look through it and just see, hey, what are we paying for? What's the end game here? I have each location and then Spectrum and then Kinetic side by side. That way you see exactly what you're getting and if you feel there's value in that. A lot of what we're doing is not only upgrading speed, but also lowering costs. That was a big thing we wanted to tackle here. Especially in the sense that probably years back when Spectrum came through, fiber wasn't a very common thing, so it was more expensive. And now with fiber being more common, the cost of it has gone down substantially. Now there are certain locations that will essentially cost more in, I think, maybe one location. I have to find it. Yeah, the road department. That's the only one that will actually cost more than what Spectrum is charging. And that is because essentially what Spectrum is running is a dedicated fiber from here to the road department. It's called an Ethernet LAN. What we would need to do is build an actual fiber circuit from where the splice point to the road department. So it does have some construction costs, but it's only a $100 difference, but I think that'll be a moot point once we kind of get to the next slide. Danny, if you don't mind, please. So then currently I have them compared side by side with Spectrum, $4,160. Your new monthly spend would be $2,719.94. You're upgrading speeds at all locations, if not by 50 meg up to doubling it to 1 gig. So there are certain locations where you have 500 megabytes, we would actually be going up to a gig. So you're raising speed and cutting costs. Your monthly savings would be $1,440.94. Bullitt County's annual savings would be $17,291.28. And term savings, this is how we essentially add up costs throughout the term of an agreement. So through our term costs, you would end up saving $86,456.40. So all in all, enhancing speed and you're lowering costs monthly. And this is not accounting for taxes on either side, so this is actual true savings. And I don't think I have another one, do I? Oh yeah, and this is just another side-by-side comparison. So yeah, this is what phase 1 was. Just a recap. When we did the 111 or 112 extensions, 6 locations, total cost. So between phase 1 and phase 2, phase 1 we ended up saving $1,147, and then in phase 2 you would end up saving $1,440. So total savings over both phases would be $2,587.06, and then total yearly savings after, if phase 2 was to be approved, would be $31,044.72.
That term agreement, is that for 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question also.
Yeah, please.
On the, I think the detention center went up also, but the road department and the detention center on that one graph you
If
have.
we can go back to that, Candy. Right here, yeah. The next one over. There we go, yes.
Yeah. Didn't it go up also?
Which one is, I'm sorry?
Detention from 5.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to skip over that. I was just
That's
looking, I
okay.
was actually looking for the number 530 because that's the one we're saying. Yeah, so the Bullitt County Detention Center, it's 100 meg right now, and this is another thing I want to hit on, is that the county uses a company called Louisville Tech. They are the IT company. We're working in unison, not parallel. So everything I've gotten has been signed off and approved by what they think is a good need. John Clark, who's Louisville Tech CEO, me and him have reviewed this, gone over extensively, and what it is that with the Bullitt County Detention Center, you have 100 meg, and they're probably your biggest user. Courthouse, yes, you got a lot of people in here using Wi-Fi, but the detention center, not only do you have cameras, you have the phone system, which runs on the internet, you have users, you have tons of computers there. They're going to be your heaviest user. So with 100 meg, you divide that over each user, you're looking at maybe 5-10 megs per person. And a lot of times the work you're doing, that's not much anymore. I mean, if we had 10 megs at home, we would hate our internet provider. So what we've done is not only doubled it, we went up by 10 times. So 100 megabytes to 1 gig, that's a 10 times speed increase for $400, or for a $410. Now you say, okay, well that's a big cost, but we knew that. So what I did is I found ways to make up costs on other locations. Like if you will see on the planning and zoning, $540, you're going down to $109. And that's because I can essentially, the way that one's set up in our network, it's in what we call a polygon. I can give you bottom dollar pricing on that because I don't have to run a dedicated fiber all the way to that building. It's already by my fiber. So I literally just plug and play. So if you'll see multiple locations where we've done that, and that's essentially because we've taken into account, yes, some locations will be more expensive than others, but where are we going to actually have the cost savings? And I'll be honest with you, I didn't go in here trying to save cost. And the reason I didn't is that this has been an issue I've been talked about with Louisville Tech, with the judge, that the services that they've had right now with Spectrum haven't been good. They've been very unhappy with it. If I was to come out breaking even, I would have been very happy because then I'm like, well, maybe I can sell them on, we're just a better service. It just happened to come out that you guys are in a beneficial position, that you're within our fiber network at certain locations. We don't have to build it all the way out to you. And that was the case with Spectrum in certain areas, but in fairness to them, over the course of the last 5 years, we've had the opportunity to build fiber everywhere. So, and we kind of put, the central areas in mind that are going to be where the county just happens to have locations, which is beneficial to you because it actually puts you in a position, more advantageous position, that you get to save money on fiber comparatively when you just had to have it built specifically for you and not anybody else had it, if that makes sense.
So I guess, but part of my question is,
Yeah.
so where they're located, they're right beside each other.
Mm-hmm.
So would that be, I guess, any less of a cost as far as, because they're right, they almost join, the property joins.
Yeah, so they're actually, the way a dedicated fiber circuit works compared to like what me and you would have at home or just like kind of maybe a standard business here, is that we're actually going to splice a fiber directly into the, essentially, just think about the poles that run down this street, right? We're gonna splice an independent fiber into the pole and then run it to the road department, run it to the jail. And then that fiber is only user in all the way from the jail, all the way back to our central office, which is right here downtown. You're gonna be the only, that building will be the only one using that fiber. I mean, a dedicated circuit means guaranteed speeds, guaranteed uptime, and then a 4-hour SLA, meaning if that fiber was to get cut, somebody hits it, happens all the time, we have to respond within 4 hours. Now, you've all had internet go down at home, all of us have. It might be the next day, 2 days until you get it fixed. With the dedicated fiber, we have to be there in 4 hours, fix it up and running, and the reason is, it's because most people who use dedicated fiber circuits like that, they can't afford to be down. I mean, I'd imagine the jail runs off internet in a lot of ways, manpower, but the security systems, everything, phones, run through the internet. So that's why those are important to have at certain locations. Now, the road department, you think, well, why does the road department necessarily need internet? Well, one, it's a very important part here, but it just doesn't have fiber available any other route. And within that term, it's like, well, what are we gonna do with this, service? It's kind of, if you were to keep, and I'm so sorry if I'm going over, but if you were to say, well, why wouldn't we just keep that location on Spectrum? It's cheaper. You can't, because everything ties back to this location. Meaning if this location was to switch to Kinetic, that one would have to too, because that one's being fed from this service. So taking that into account, then what are we gonna do in that situation? Well, if they were gonna go with any other option for us, it would be a 10 meg DSL service, and I wouldn't sell that to anybody. So that's kind of accounts like a give and take is how the best way I can describe it for what we had to do with these locations. Knowing some would be more expensive, but knowing the overall cost for this service is gonna be way less. So does that answer that?
Yeah, that explains it
Sorry.
pretty good.
Okay.
I'm not a morning person. So.
There you go.
Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Presentation.
Any other questions? I'm happy to answer them, yeah.
Are there any other upfront costs or fees or equipment, special equipment we need to buy?
No, that's all accounted
Everything's
for,
included.
yeah. And a lot of the equipment you have in place is provided by Louisville Tech. And that's why I worked alongside with them, because I don't want to put anything that's gonna conflict with their services. And that's another point I wanna hit on, so I'm glad you asked that. Is that the reason they're becoming an advocate for this is because the equipment they have that they run off, that they prefer to use, doesn't necessarily work very well with what you currently have. And it's because everything's being fed from this location out, and they don't really have the ability to be kind of malleable. They can't just change things, because they have to always take into account, if I mess something up here, it could mess something up over there too, because they're all kind of an octopus, the tentacles are spread out rather than everybody having their own arms and legs. Everything comes back here. So this has been signed off by them because that they've currently having issues. They actually reached out to me, when can we get this done? I'm tired of this. I think one of the locations had service go down. I can't remember, but they provide all the equipment. They already have it. We're just going to be a plug and play. The only thing that we'll need to do, we cover all the costs for the build. That's all incorporated within the cost of what I'm quoting you here too. So no equipment, charges. The only thing you don't see on there are the taxes and fees, which is the exact same ones that you would pay with Spectrum, which I think I can go find something to show you guys what it would be. We'd have to work with it. But all in all, the savings, when you don't account for the taxes and fees, that's true cost savings, meaning you see apples, what you're paying. Not, well, this is what you're paying with taxes, and this is what you wouldn't pay with taxes with us. This is literally a side-by-side comparison. So.
And the prices are good for 5 years?
Yep.
But it's a 5-year contract.
It is, yeah. And that was the previous term with Spectrum as well. And the reason we do 5 years, if we were to do 3-year, the costs are higher. And it's just, and I'd imagine we go through all the trouble of building dedicated circuits to each location, except for a couple, that in 2 years, 3 years from now, you're like, okay, well, on to the next one. Nobody wants to do that. It's a headache. Now, I mean, if we provide terrible service or if we, the prices go up all of a sudden, I can understand that. But we have a great relationship with the county. Judge knows Stephanie Bell quite well, so if anything was happening, I'm sure she would whip us in the check, pretty quickly.
With this agreement, are you saying that those prices are locked in for 5 years?
Yep. And then all of a sudden, I mean, I've been very good at every time the county needs something, call me. And if there was ever an issue, anything like that, I would get it taken care of very quickly. But you'd also have to understand the billing is an automated bill. It's not somebody going, oh, look at this one, check, we'll raise their bills. If it goes up, one, let me know, we can make sure. But for the most part, the reason we do term agreements, locked in pricing. The only time it goes up is when somebody's out of term. So it's either renew right before it's up, or pay the extra costs, or call in and negotiate a new rate. You know, so within that 5 years, you will be locked in, yes.
Okay.
Well, I definitely appreciate your presentation, very thorough.
Yeah, no worries, thank you.
I've done a lot of work already.
Yep.
I know in my neighborhood, everybody's switching.
Yeah.
Well, it's really funny where I live, we have Roger, but Spectrum is coming through right now, putting in fiber.
Mm-hmm. They have.
Eventually, will you all take over that, you think?
I don't know. It's kind of a weird how internet companies work. Sometimes in unison and sometimes they way against each other. Sometimes we're just willing to concede an area because we're like, well, how much is it going to cost for us to be able there? But I'd imagine, I mean, Bullitt County is a big focal point of Kinetic right now. I mean, we've had great local or public-private partnership with you guys. So you guys honestly have the largest fiber network next to Lexington in our entire area.
Wow.
I mean, next to Elizabethtown, which is a bigger town, essentially, you still have more of a fiber area than them. So, and that's places that we underserve too, you know what I mean? So it's not like we're building fiber to these 5 houses. Like, where's the money in that? Well, the public-private partnership allowed us to do that, and these people get internet. But at the same time, some people who really need it aren't going to get it, and then Spectrum, who has no choice but to build fiber. You know, somebody comes in selling Corvettes for the same price you're selling Civics, what are you going to do? You're going to find out how to build Corvettes for the same price and start selling them. And that's kind of where the situation is with fiber versus the coax system they use. So,
Okay.
no, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
All right, if you guys need anything, let me know.
All right, thank you, Patrick. Presentations, Kim, Belmont Furnace.
Good morning. Well, we're at the point now where we're ready to install the walking bridge to access the iron furnace. And I proposed 2 bids to you guys. And I would like to go with B&H Construction to construct the bridge.
Oh, that way, did you find one?
I looked
You get it?
over both of those bids, and, I mean, S&S, I'll have to say they were very detailed there. But the other one wasn't.
I have worked closely with Robert on this.
Okay.
That's, the S&H, or, let me see, Sherrard, they're a general contractor, where B&H, they only deal with bridges, and that is their main concern of work. And like I said, I reached out to Robert on this, he's the expert, and going through that with him, he also recommended B&H.
They do a lot, they build a lot of bridges, I would say.
Yeah, and then also that quote was $45,000 compared to $50,000. So
Yeah, cheaper.
that's that's what we need to do next. And then I have some bids for fencing and then the parking lot too. But our first step is to get that bridge built.
Did he give us a timeline on if we approve when they would start, or?
Well, once I give them approval, then I'll get that information to you guys if we select B&H today.
Well, Kim, I went out to the Belmont Iron Furnace site yesterday, and it was quite interesting. I'm really excited
Yeah.
that to open up. I was able to talk with Ms. Kitterman. She shared with me that she lived on the farm for over 30 years, her and her husband. However, it's owned by some doctors out in Louisville.
Dr. Coons, who we assigned the agreement with on the lease agreement.
But one of the things she shared with me, you might want to reach out to her. She said that she's got a lot of the old nails, and that you might want some to do for a display.
We can have a display, yes. I've been talking with Mr. Coons also about signage and getting that displayed.
And we picked up a few nails because she says after it rained, a lot of those nails will come to surface.
And the slag, did you see any of the slag that runoff from the
Yes.
iron furnace? That's, yeah.
Yes. And anyway, she was just full of a lot of information. I
In your packet on the drawings on the bridge, Robert helped with the specs on that, so we've been out there several times.
Yeah, I think you all answered some of my questions, because I know we've worked with S&S, before on a lot of different projects. I wasn't really familiar with B&H, but, if Robert, in addition to yourself, look this over and feel that the direction you all want to go, obviously it is, $4,000 or $5,000 cheaper. It is an exciting project, obviously preserving history, and to be able to have this, it is exciting.
Yep.
Well, with your approval, I'd like to move forward with B&H.
I'll make a motion that we approve B&H for the contract for the bridge.
I'll second.
Thank you,
Okay.
appreciate it.
I have a motion by 4th District Magistrate Blamel, a second by 3rd District Magistrate Johnson to approve the contract with B&H
Thank you for your time.
for the bridge. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Sam, call the roll.
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Flemel,
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you. Christie couldn't make it, but on her waste grants, I'm quite familiar with them. The first one is for the hazardous waste, and the second one is for the tar amnesty. And I'd like to put that in the form of a motion to approve them so we can get that into the state. One of them's a little bit of a matching grant.
It was just a 25% match.
Right,
That's what I read.
for the hazardous waste.
So,
And then the other one is, we get $4,000 to put on the tar amnesty. Yes, I'm gonna make a motion to approve the first one with the hazardous waste with our Metro grant, second by Vera. Any other questions? There you go. Sam, call the roll, please.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Flemel,
Yes.
Judge Summers,
Yes,
Sanders.
Yes.
Motion carried.
thank you. And the second one is for the tar amnesty. It starts July 1. We can do it from July 1 to, anyway, to June 30th of 2026, 25 to 26, on the tar amnesty.
I'll second.
I got a second by Vera. Sam, call the roll, please.
Johnson,
Yes.
Flemel,
Yes.
Judge Summers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, thank you all. And I'm sorry Chrissy can't be here, but she'll be here the next time to give you an update on the, what we're doing with the recycling and a little bit more detail about her time frame on these two grants.
She must be pulling trailers this morning. I got behind them this morning coming from Brandenburg.
Probably so. Okay. And now, under new business, no old business, under new business, I'd like to reappoint Brian Vogel to the Zoneton Fire Department District, term to expire 6/30/2028.
I'll second.
I have a second by 3rd District Magistrate Johnson. Sam, call the roll, please.
Flemel,
Yes.
Judge Summers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, and the library sent in they sent in 4 recommendations, 2 different sheets for our approval to the library board. That still has to go back to the state to make sure that they approve them as well. But for our recommendations, I'd like to recommend Rachel Hurt. She's from Collins Hill Road. And then Sarah Pretty, who is from Mount Washington, to appoint them to the Library Board of Trustees, both terms to expire 6/30/2029. Rachel is a reappointment. They can only serve 2 terms. And Sarah is a new term to replace Ms. Mann.
I'll second that.
I have a second by 2nd District Magistrate Logston. Sam, call the roll, please.
Judge Summers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Flemel.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. The enterprise contract for some Ford Rangers. The discussion on that is we're surrendering 3 Ford F-150s back to Enterprise. And the proceeds from that sale will go back to planning and zoning, or the code enforcement. And we want to replace them with 3 Ford Rangers, 4x4s, moving forward.
Judge, I have looked over this, and I've got a couple of questions.
Sure.
I noticed on that, it estimated the mileage of 10,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
So if I read this right, this lease is for 5 years?
Yes.
Okay. So they're only putting 50,000 miles on the vehicles. Anything over 50,000, what's the cost on that?
We turn them in before that, Vera?
Do we?
Uh-huh.
So you turn them in before the lease is up?
Yes.
They extend a maintenance agreement as well, so it's kind of like a warranty. They don't charge us any more money on that. So it works out.
But there was, I guess what she said too, there's no penalty if we drive over 10,000 miles. If they drive 6 feet, there's not a certain amount over.
Our goal was to do it every year, but
Yeah.
with COVID, it's better for us to keep the vehicles, and we're gonna get more money out of them at the end. So, and we wanted to swap these off to the road or something, but they've got too many miles on them. They run more than the road department.
Well, that's what I was wondering, because it had 10,000 miles a year. And I'm like, that's just 50,000 in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I know they have to be putting more than that on it. We'll get rid of them for them.
Yep.
But it doesn't, you're not penalized for getting rid of them sooner.
No,
Or going over the 10,000 miles.
either way.
That sounds
I
a
do
little
have
too good to be
another
true.
question.
Okay.
How many leased vehicles do we have? Do you have an idea?
33 possibly.
Yeah.
I know when I drive by, sometimes I see like some parked over here. There's a certain amount that are allowed to like take home, or do they all stay here and they drive or pick them up? Or
No,
how does that work?
they basically all stay here except for 2 or 3 at the road department, for the supervisors down there, and then Mark, who's on 24-hour call here, but they stay in the county,
Okay.
and then EMS.
So EMS, theirs is also leased too,
We have 2 of
or
them.
do we buy them?
We have 2.
I was just wondering about leasing, if it would be better for the county to start buying them, do every time it pays the lease now. I don't know how it would benefit.
No, we looked at that when
You
my
did?
first term, and when they came and gave the presentation, when we bought these cars, they were wore out, and by the time you went to resell them, I mean, the value wasn't really that great. I mean, the one thing is the morale too. I think I like about the lease vehicles, you always got a newer vehicle out there on the streets, and then the image, the cleanliness of the vehicle and stuff. That's one of the reasons I liked it. But I'm not saying I disagree with you or anything, but that was the reason we made the change. I know when we were looking at it, Mount Washington had switched over, and I think they kind of got things started, people looking at it. And the city of Mount Washington did it first, and then I believe somebody here from Shepherdsville doing lease.
Say
Shepherdsville.
Hillview did too.
Hillview, so they kind of did it all before we did it, and we looked at it, and they came in with I couldn't even tell you, I'd be lying if I tried to explain the savings, but they came in with a really nice presentation and talked
Yeah.
about how much it actually was saving, and then each one of the cities actually acknowledged before we made a decision that they seen the results and the savings, and plus the image of the new vehicles, because we had some, when I came in my
Or
first term,
junk.
there was some pretty
I was just wondering.
pretty rough,
Right.
embarrassing looking vehicles,
Yep.
and at least now they're all look and reliable, and the repair costs on some of these have been astronomical before, but that was the reason that we made the change of the lease. But we followed suit with some of the local city governments that already had kind of results to show us before we made that decision.
I was just kind of wondering what the disadvantage and advantage was. That's good. That's all I needed to know.
Okay. And any other questions?
I'd also like to kind of look at, just see a comparison of what your lease payments are compared to purchase payments. 'Cause I know some of them sometimes only have like 10 or 12,000 miles a year.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's got how much it is monthly. If I'm reading this right, it's $797 monthly.
okay,
You see that?
so that's the lease payment.
Mm-hmm.
I'd just like to explore that because, I don't know, the way I look at it, if you lease an apartment or if you own a house,
Right. Yeah. And
Well,
we
it's
could,
real estate when it's an appreciating value, but not a depreciating value.
yeah, but a lot of times on these leases, you know, the way I look at like the road department, those guys are working and they got tackle and stuff, and so get all that in the truck. Just put a charge or a fee or something, about your tires have to be in good shape and all that. So that's what I'd like to look at.
okay, we can produce those numbers, Brian.
Okay.
I mean, for what the monthly payment is, you could not buy a brand new truck and have a payment like this. You're
Yeah.
looking over, with trucks now, you're looking over probably $1,200 a month.
Yep.
If you want it within a reasonable term, I mean, now you go buy a car and they're gonna say, what do you want your payment to be? And they'll put you in for 8 years if you want, but we don't want to be paying 8
Well,
years.
I'm looking at 5 years.
Yeah. But they'll extend it even further than
And
that.
the only reason I'm saying 5 years is because that's what I'm kind of looking at a lease. You're looking at quite a bit of money per month
Mhm.
when you start figuring all that out.
All right. Okay, I need a vote.
You made the motion,
Yes.
I'll second.
I have a second by First District Magistrate Sanders. Sam, call the roll.
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Fleenwell,
Yes.
Judge Summers.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Resolution 25-03, Recreation Advisory Board.
Recreation Advisory Board Resolution 2025-03. Whereas the Bullitt County Fiscal Court finds it in the best interest of the public welfare to establish a Recreation Advisory Board, and whereas said board shall make recommendations to Fiscal Court, which Fiscal Court may accept in its discretion. Now therefore be it resolved by the Fiscal Court of County of Bullitt, Commonwealth of Kentucky, number 1, the Bullitt County Recreation Advisory Board, hereinafter board, is hereby established. 2, the board shall consist of 5 members. No member shall hold any elected or appointed office or be employed as a county government employee. Each member shall have been a resident of Bullitt County for at least 1 year prior to the date of appointment and shall reside in the county throughout the term of office. Members shall receive no compensation but may be reimbursed for all necessary expenses if said expenses are approved by the fiscal court prior to being incurred. 3, the terms of the members shall be 4 years, except that with respect to members initially appointed, 1 member shall be appointed for a term of 1 year, 1 member shall be appointed for a term of 2 years, 1 member shall be appointed for a term of 3 years, and 2 members shall be appointed for a term of 4 years. Each member of fiscal court shall pick 1 member to serve on the board, subject to the approval of the entire fiscal court. The members may be reappointed for any number of consecutive terms. Any member may be removed by the fiscal court for misconduct, inability, or willful neglect of duties. Number 4, vacancies shall be filled within 60 days by nomination of the fiscal court member whose appointment withdrew or was removed from the board, subject to the approval of the entire fiscal court. If a vacancy is not filled within 60 days, the remaining members shall fill the vacancy. All vacancies shall be filled for the remainder of the unexpired term. 5, the board shall, upon the initial appointment of its members and annually thereafter, elect a chairperson from among the membership. The chairperson shall be the presiding officer and a full voting member of the board. 6, meetings shall be held as necessary upon the call of the chairperson or at the written request of a majority of the members. 7, the presence of 3 or more members shall constitute a quorum, and the affirmative vote of 3 or more members shall be necessary for any official action to be taken. Any member who has a conflict of interest with respect to any matter to be considered by the board shall disclose the nature of the conflict, shall disqualify himself or herself from voting on the matter, and shall not be counted for purposes of establishing a quorum. 8, minutes shall be kept for all proceedings, and the vote of each member of any issue decided by the board shall be recorded in the minutes. 9, the board shall serve as a recommending body only. The board shall make recommendations to the fiscal court on the topics of recreation and facilities, parks, pools, sports leagues, and anything of the like. 10, at least 1 board member shall be present at a fiscal court meeting to present the recommendations when the board has recommendations to make.
Thank you, Tammy.
So I'm going to make a motion that we accept Resolution 2503, the Recreation Advisory Board.
I'll second.
I did have a quick question, just real quick. I'm totally in favor of it, but also I know that we have the ability as a county to adopt more stringent local regulations, then, and I don't know if that should be discussed or not. I know some counties that have accepted this have passed on regulation where they've allowed this, but perhaps maybe not above roads that are 35 mile per hour speed limit, or other things like that. Does that make
I think you skipped ahead.
You skipped ahead one. It's okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm totally against this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're in
It's
the
all right.
park, we can't go 35.
I'm sorry, I was over here talking to the bear over there. That's my fault, I'm like a kid in classroom over there.
That's okay. They were UTVing it, which is really important as well as this is, okay? So I have a motion by 4th District Magistrate Blamewell, second by 3rd District Magistrate Johnson. Sam, call the roll, please, to approve Resolution 25-03.
Logston,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Blamel,
Yes.
Judge Summers,
Yes?
Sanders,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay.
Now we can talk about what I was doing.
Well, wait, let's just calm down here for just a minute, okay? So, I'm going to make a recommendation right now to appoint as my representative to the newly adopted Resolution Recreation Board, Sam Satterley, and Sam is here as well, or Samantha Satterley, to the Recreation Board. Sam?
Thanks.
I just want to briefly introduce myself for some of y'all that I'm not familiar with or haven't met yet. I'm Sam Satterley. I'm the Parks and Rec Director for the City of Shepherdsville. Relatively new to the area. I moved here in 2021. I stepped into this role in November. Really the primary intention of mine is to make sure that all of our future plans for green spaces, natural areas, parks, and recreational facilities are aligned with the Bullitt County Comprehensive Plan. Other than that, I'm excited for this opportunity. Thank you, Judge Summers, for your recommendation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for Sam? So at the, I guess at the next meeting, we can all have our recommendations, but that's my recommendation moving forward.
Okay.
Okay? All right.
You want us to act on your recommendation?
I would like to act on it today and make it a 4-year term.
I'll second your recommendation. And then the next meeting, we can each come with our own.
Yes. So Sam, call roll.
Johnson,
Yes.
Blamel,
Yes.
Judge Summers,
Yes.
Sanders,
Yes.
Logston,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you all. Okay, now we can go to street legal purpose vehicles, okay?
Yeah, I got a
And
couple questions too.
we got questions. We got an expert out here, Kevin, right? You're an expert on it, and so is, Tammy. So and I guess, here's Sean's questions first, and I have a couple too. So jump right in there, Sean.
Or if you want to go first, then I can.
No, I guess where I'm at with the bill is passed, is it correct? And it's totally up to each county,
Yes, and city,
cities as well.
yes.
So if we pass something here and the 8 cities say no, then you do an 8 UTV and you drive through the city of Shepherdsville, you can get locked up? Or get a ticket?
Probably get a ticket, maybe get the vehicle impounded, I don't know.
Well,
I'll defer to the county attorney. However, it's my general belief that the county has the ability to pass laws that are countywide. You have to notify the mayor of any ordinance that you pass that is countywide. Now, would I don't believe that would authorize you to take and pass a law saying that somebody can utilize this special purpose vehicle on a solely city street if the city does not agree. But as far as passing through on the state highways, that would be okay. The county passes it countywide, I believe it goes countywide.
As far as the highways, I agree 100% on the city streets, that would be up to the cities.
I've
That's
had-
all agreed.
on a city street, not a highway, not like 44, 61.
Right, like going
Buckman
right down through
Street.
here on 61, right?
Okay.
So if anybody's listening, you know, what we're basically talking about is the legislator passed a law that says street legal special purpose vehicles. This isn't golf carts, it's not slow-moving golf carts, but could be legal, you know, depending on if that county accepted that. I've had quite a few people reach out to me in favor of this, not really anybody opposed, but I do have certain reservations myself, and that's what I was spitting out there a minute ago. I was taking some notes and kind of got sidetracked. I know there's quite a few states. I own a side-by-side myself, and I've been to a lot of the parks that allow it in their communities and different things, and I see benefits, I see pros, I see cons. But I do it's my understanding, you know, there is a ordinance kind of drafted that was drafted by KCO that follows in line, but each particular county has the ability to opt in or opt out. But with that being said, I understand that I read that local governments may adopt more stringent local regulations and safety equipment if desired. I think I would be leaning towards possibly that and not just accepting it, and I'm just talking discussion here. I'm not so much opposed to it because when you start thinking about what's on the road right now, slingshots, those slingshots are out there. They're really no different than I think a side-by-side. You've got trikes that are out there, like a three-wheel motorcycle. You've got scooters, mopeds, motorcycles, and, you know, even some, you know, it's not uncommon, a lot of antique cars out there that don't go over 40 miles an hour you travel on. I think this is so new to people because it's considered an off-road vehicle, but with technology right now, these things are basically a car. And in a lot of sense, maybe not so much with some of the safety features a car might have, but I think the capability, the speeds and different things. But I did notice a lot of different states have different, you know, like for North Carolina, for example, they allow it, but not on roads that exceed 35 mile per hour speed limits. I do know that there's, even in this ordinance that we've got today, there's so much other stuff that's restricted that's not even in here. One of the things that I've seen is it's prohibited no matter what, even though this ordinance don't say it in law, it's prohibited on interstates and parkways, or it actually says it's prohibited traveling more than 20 miles on a highway that has a centerline pavement marking, meaning that you could go on 44, but you couldn't go for more than 20 miles is my understanding on that. Of course, farm and ag are already exempt. Louisiana has it where you're up to 55, but I also got a big question too on the revenue side of it. Currently, it says it establishes a registration fee for $10 and the sheriff inspection fee, I don't know what it is normally now for all our cars, but it said $25 for the sheriff inspection on those. Is that something that we can increase, or is that something that is statutory by law, where those fees have to stay the same? Because, you know, my brother bought one, and he don't have it now, but he paid like $32,000. I mean, we're not talking about, you know, some little dinky thing sometimes. So you have a $30,000 vehicle, will they be paying sales tax and license and use tax just like a vehicle? Because my understanding is
Just like buying a $32,000 Jeep, just like buying a $32,000 Kia. It's gonna have ad val, it's gonna have usage tax at time of purchase, 6% of the purchase price. And then it's gonna have ad val taxing on an annual basis, like you all pay on your pickup trucks and your cars and your boats. So it's increasing the tax roll in that respect. The motorcycle licensing was determined, as best I remember, was because they went motorcycle as opposed to automobile. And the Clerks Association had lobbied for vehicle plate on it, but they said physically they wanted the motorcycle because it was smaller and easier to probably get to stay on the vehicle, since these vehicles go off-road a lot.
And then that probably falls along with insurance. Obviously, you'll have to have insurance, so insurance, motorcycle insurance.
Motorcycle tag, it's my understanding, there's regulations to be created by KYTC in the MVL department, I believe it was, to complete this process. The KRS gives a lot of the bones and the structure of what they're looking for. I honestly don't know about your fee, but I know that on mine, that motorcycle fee, that's by KRS. And I don't think you all have, I don't know that you all have the authority to change a state law on MVL pricing on license plates. So, and the inspection, Walt, you correct me it's by KRS, and I think that we're stuck at $25 on the
What about,
inspection.
can you add an additional permit fee for this, or is it?
Not for the inspection, I can't know. What you all may be able to do with regard to permit, it indicates that to get this motorcycle license, the state statute says you pay an annual $10 fee to get the license. Initially, any of them to get authorized to get a motorcycle license for it, tag, they have to be inspected by the sheriff's office. In order to get inspected by the sheriff's office, they have to pay a $25 fee by state statute. I don't think we have the authority to charge less or to charge more.
Okay.
Currently, to charge, the fee for inspecting an automobile by the sheriff's office is $15 for an individual or $15 for a business that sells less than a certain number of cars per month. If they sell, on average, an excess number, then we can charge them 30. If we do an off-site inspection, for instance, I want them to come to my house to inspect my UTV, then we charge an additional $20
Okay.
off-site fee.
And technically, that's what would have to happen unless they trailered that here, I assume, because they couldn't drive it legally to your office, so it'd either have to go to them or have to be trailered for the inspection.
And with this, so only page 1 of this Senate bill was put in the packet, but it's 22 pages long.
Right.
So on page 15 of it, it says there shall be a $25 fee payable to the sheriff, so that cannot be changed.
Okay.
Up or down, it cannot be changed. And Walt and I were wrong a second ago, because it
That's
says in
all
here
he
on
gave.
page, I think
Made
it's
the
page
highlight.
2,
I got the whole.
they cannot operate on even a highway through a jurisdiction that has not affirmatively adopted the
Okay.
use. So we were wrong.
So let me, as part of the KRS, restrictions, local government may adopt more stringent local ordinances governing street legal special purpose vehicles, and the operation is specified in section 1. The county must pass an ordinance allowing street legal special purpose vehicles in order for them to operate in the county. Each city within your county must also pass an ordinance in order for them to operate within the city limits of that county. And if your county doesn't pass an ordinance, then the cities in your county can't either. Now, if CAECO comes up with something different than this is the packet that's going to be presented to the clerks tomorrow. I got a hold of it and a few days ago, knowing that I was going to be speaking in front of you all.
And the date, I believe I seen was
And golf carts are not included.
June 27th, I think is when this goes in effect.
When it goes into effect, and it's also when I think they're supposed to have the regs in place and ready by that time. I think they've got everything ready in Canvas for the coding to be able to do them, but I'll kind of waffle on that just a little bit.
Okay.
All of this, some of us, I think we as a community need to determine if we're either behind it or we're not, and part for this reason. It's sort of like passing laws, recognize it's going to be enforced, should be, and is going to be enforced on your friends and neighbors. And currently, we have a big problem in this county of people running ATVs and UTVs and golf carts up and down the road in a very dangerous fashion. We found a woman, wonderful woman, I don't know her, never met her, wouldn't know what she looked like if she walked in here, but there's a very nice subdivision at the first 90-degree curve on Bogard Lane. Very well developed, nice people live there, and they have a golf cart parade on 4th of July. They advertise in their homeowners news thing to have the golf cart parade. They don't license the golf carts. It's within the city, and you can get a license to have a golf cart in the city. The golf cart has to meet certain requirements and get inspected by the sheriff's office. The vast majority of golf carts that are being driven around are not brought to the sheriff's office to get inspected, and they don't meet the requirements. Most all of the UTVs, I've got a UTV, paid a fortune for it, personally. It will not meet these standards. because I do not have turn signals on it. I do not have a roll bar on it. That's required by the state statute. When they get inspected, they have to have that. So when we take and just pass it, and then somebody will get the idea, I urge that if we do, we really advertise a lot what the requirements are, because otherwise, I wind up having, and my deputies wind up having to deal with a bunch of unhappy people, and they say, well, there's a law says we can do this. Well, no, you're just reading the headlines, that sort of thing. And, but we have lots. Well, anyway, back to the lady that came out. There's a school at the end of Bogard Lane, Pleasant Grove Elementary School. One of my deputies found a woman had driven her children to school in the golf cart up a 35-mile-an-hour road in a golf cart, holding an infant in her arms as she's driving up there. And all she's just thinking, it's kind of summertime. We live in the country now, and we can, it's these golf cart areas on whatever, and how was not recognizing how dangerous that is, because we have people drive 50 and 60 miles an hour on that strong, long, almost mile-long straightaway. So I hope you all, if we get serious, that you all be sure that if you pass it, you want us to enforce it, because we need the support. We need the support of the community to enforce the laws and make it safe. But I've seen too many people killed on UTVs, ATVs.
Right.
I've seen children, and we have a lot of kids riding. Parents are giving the kids the key to the golf cart to go to the swimming pool at the subdivision, and this will include that. But having that motorcycle license on the back of it and requiring that that's there. If you see somebody on the road that doesn't have it, you see somebody that's not 16 years old driving it, and I know lots and lots of kids are riding four-wheelers and so forth because people are not recognizing. The law says that if they're under 16 years old, they have to be under the supervision of an adult on private property. Yet we have them running up and down the road with no supervision.
Right.
With that being
Okay.
said, is there anywhere, I mean, I haven't seen all the pages, but is there anything in there, do you believe, that addresses, or just might be common sense, that if you did have a child, because some of these are four-seaters and even beyond that they would have to be restrained in a car seat just like you would in
That's
a
the
vehicle?
law. They have to be restrained if you're out on a city street. And the state statute here, if I recall it correctly, and I think I do, says that if it is a multi-passenger vehicle, it has to have seat belts all around.
Okay.
Are they gonna pass the inspection?
Let me piggyback on Walt. One or more headlamps, one or more tail lamps, one or more brake lamps, a trail lamp that is there to illuminate the registration plate, and it's a white light, one or more reflectors on the rear of the vehicle, amber or red electric signals on the rear of the vehicle, a braking system other than a parking brake, a braking system other than a parking brake, a horn or other warning device, a working muffler, rear view mirrors on the right and left side of the driver, a windshield, unless the operator wears eye protection goggles while operating the vehicle, a speedometer illuminated for nighttime operation, a roll bar or roll cage, and for multi-purpose passenger vehicles, a seatbelt assembly that conforms to federal motor vehicle safety standards, blah, blah, blah. For each designated seating position, and tires have to have at least 230 seconds of tread. And then there's a specific inspection form for the sheriff. Those are the requirements that were put out on this. I don't know how they're gonna get an ATV through this because ATVs don't have roll cages. But that's not my worry, okay? The law says this. So the law, these vehicles are subject to the laws of the road when they get licensed. And when they're on these roads, they're subject to it. There's also, going back to the roads in which they can be on, they can only be driven in a jurisdiction that allows them. They can't be operated on limited access highways, interstates or parkways, so they can't be up on I-65. cannot be driven on a highway with pavement markings for more than 20 miles. And I don't know what this one is, but it's in there. Can't be driven on roads that are in a U.S. Department of Agriculture prohibits. I don't think we've got that. That's probably a Western Kentucky thing. But those are the roads that they can be on. They're subject to obeying the speed limits. They're subject to obeying them and keeping your vehicles under control. No different than we drive our daily drivers.
And this is the first step, so
Right.
we adopt this ordinance per se, then that allows the that's countywide, but then obviously it restricts it in the city. Then the next step would be each city would need to adopt an ordinance whether they accept it or reject it. Is that correct?
Yeah, and let me add to, I'll take that and I'll add to it. If, for example, if one of the 5 northern, if the county adopts it, assuming that assumption, if the county adopts it and a city decides they don't want it, Hillview or Hunters Hollow, pretty dense population, they don't want these vehicles moving around, causing chaos in their city maybe. The people in Hillview and Hunters Hollow, I still am in a place to where I have to register and title that vehicle because it's like a boat. You can own a boat, but we don't have a lake. And yes, we have Salt River, but it's really not a navigable water to where we have lots of people minus a few fishermen. But somebody can own a boat and we title and register it, and then you take the boat to where the body of water is. These side-by-sides and stuff are the same way. I still have to, like, if you all say no and all 8 cities are not going to be able to do it, I'm still going to be registering and titling these things for the people that want to put them on a trailer and take off and go to the counties where they allow it, or the states where they allow it. Haul it out to Colorado and ride it out there. Go to Wyoming. Go down to Tennessee, or go down to Harlan and ride Wildcat. I'm still going to be doing the transactions, but then it becomes an issue there that they're technically not allowed. If you all were to say no ordinance, then they won't be on the highway legally. I will tell you, I own one of these too. And I've had ATVs, I've had 4-wheelers, and I've done just about every stupid thing that you can think about doing and yet not kill myself. So I understand bad behavior in these vehicles. I also know that there will be idiots that will get up on the expressways, and I got passed on the right-hand side at I-40 and I-65 in Nashville by one who came around me, and I was running 65, 70 miles an hour, and he passed me on the right. And I didn't know where he'd come from. And so I know that bad things will happen because we can't control the mind of every single individual. But the laws are set up to try to provide for reasonable behavior.
But the important thing to also point out, this is not talking about golf carts at all.
Golf carts were specifically exempted by 186.010, but they did not want golf carts in this.
Yeah, so that's like a
Golf
whole
carts
nother,
are not
that's a whole
being
nother
addressed
ball.
or on the table.
Yeah, there's a whole other statute that deals with golf carts, and Mount Washington, for one,
Yeah.
has authorized it. I believe that you all could have a golf cart ordinance as well, if you should choose to do that, but it's more restrictive with regard to roads they can be on. The issue about, people are gonna do things they're not supposed to do. That's because we have original sin, and that sort of thing, and we'll leave that alone. But up here on I-65, you don't have to go to I-40. We had a situation, I've got video of a group of about 20 people on UTVs and ATVs running wheelies on I-65 coming south. They came south and cut in just when they got inside the Bullitt County line out of Jefferson County, cut back in off the road. And I think it happens multiple times. That was not just an absolute freak situation. And it was somebody that sent the video to me. They were coming south on I-65 and had these vehicles passing them. So we'll deal with all of that one way or the other. But the motorcycle license, license plate and the county ordinance is just to okay the operation of the vehicle on the road. And, we'll enforce whatever you.
I got one question, and what approximately is the largest speed limit we have on a county road right now?
55.
We have county
55.
roads that are 55 mile per hour.
I would think we do, yes, because
Yeah.
in a rural area, if it's not otherwise marked, that's what I believe.
Mhm.
You get south of 245 on 61, it becomes 55, but it's 45, I think, all the way down.
Well, like I said, I've had several people reach out to me on this. I've thought about it long and hard, and I've looked at other areas and, you know, hearing, you know, knowing it's gonna be enforced, and I'm just gonna put it out there that I'll make a motion that we accept, KRS chapter 186 for Bullitt County street legal special purpose vehicles.
We would want to make a motion to have me draft the ordinance. We don't even have an ordinance.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I'll make the motion to allow our county attorney, then we'll vote on that at the next meeting, to draft the ordinance for Bullitt County to accept KRS chapter 186 street legal special purpose vehicles. Is that right?
Mhm.
That's the right name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only problem I have with it is like, if you have a farm, that you have to go out on the road with your Kubota or one of those things, why would they have to be licensed?
They don't.
This is farm ag.
It's a,
Well,
It's not required farmer ag.
Side by side.
So here's my understanding. Again, I defer to Ms. Baker on, if she differs with me, she's right. But it's my understanding, if I'm operating an ATV, a quad, the bike kind of, ATV or a UTV, either one, and I'm operating it in an agricultural pursuit, I can drive that on a paved highway.
what about a golf cart?
No,
Golf cart is under a completely separate KRS.
golf cart's totally different. And I don't know who realistically, truly operates a golf cart in their farming operation.
My grandkids do.
Aha, okay, well if they, again, children are not allowed to drive golf carts. That's against the law. And so we can't, so that's golf carts. So we passed this ordinance, or the state passed it, the law is the law. If somebody's gonna use that UTV to spray a field, and they gotta drive a half mile up Highway 44 to get to the field that they're gonna spray, and they don't have anything, as long as they have that triangular, agricultural danger symbol, or whatever they call it, on the back of that thing, they're driving up there, they're not gonna have, they will be able to, get a ticket dismissed if they get one. But if somebody, then I had a guy, he was up at the end of Bogart Lane, and he was getting groceries at the little store there. He had a farm way down, at the other end of Bogart Lane, and a very nice guy, and I stopped and said, you know, that's illegal to have that there. He said, no, it's not. I said, I'm involved in agriculture. I said, what do you mean you're involved in agriculture? He said, I cut the hay off that field. Well, this is January. And I said, well, no, that doesn't, but people just use them because it's a convenient thing, jump in it and ride the same reason kids do all they do, so.
Yep.
They are
Okay.
convenient.
All right.
Let me
That's
share
like
this.
somebody
Okay,
coming to
so-
my auction and saying they're farm exempt and they're buying a dining room table.
Let me share this with you, because you all brought up a piece that I hadn't thought to tell you. When these things are titled and registered for street legal specialty vehicle, then they become street legal specialty vehicle, and they are no longer designated as off-road use only vehicles. Somebody does that, they're gonna pay ad val tax on a yearly basis, they're gonna have to be paying insurance on it on a basis. They don't have insurance, tags get expired or get canceled, blah, blah, blah. They can also reconvert it back to a off-road use only designation. So if I decide this ordinance passes and I don't want to pay insurance on mine, then I'm gonna leave my Polaris as off-road designated. okay? Wants to ride down to the gas station and buy candy bars for the grandkids, so he puts insurance on his and designates it. We both have, and I don't know what he has, but if we both had identical side-by-sides, he's paying for insurance, he's paying for titling and registration, I'm not. But we both own the same vehicle. He's subject to he and I are both subject to the same laws that I shouldn't take mine out on the road. He can. And that's really the difference in this. Some people will own them and not do anything with them on highway usage, and some people will.
I assume if yours was licensed for the highway and then you decided you want to sell yours and I bought yours from you, and I didn't want to relicense it, do I need to do anything specifically? Would there be a form, or do I just not act upon that and renew the license? And then once it's in the system, I don't know.
I'm guessing that's gonna probably be discussed tomorrow, because if I'm selling it to you and I had it highway ready, licensed, titled, and registered, I'm selling it to you as a licensed and registered, and right now in today's world, I would collect usage tax on that transaction, and then you could convert it after the fact back to off-road use only. But the office is gonna have to collect usage tax at time of transfer because it's a registered vehicle.
Okay.
I suspect it'd be just like a boat, wouldn't it? If I've got my boat license, when I sell it to Sean's just gonna use it on his pond. He don't have to have a license, but it's in the system, and until it comes out of the system.
A kayak or a canoe, this is splitting hairs, you all, but a kayak or canoe that has a motor of any description on it has to have a KY number and be licensed. A kayak or canoe with human power does not have to be licensed or titled.
Okay.
That's the difference.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Second District Magistrate Logston to have the county attorney write up an ordinance for KRS 186. Do I have a second?
So I have a question. We can either adopt it or we don't, right? It's state law, but if Bullitt County doesn't adopt it, then it's not legal in Bullitt County.
In all the Bullitt.
But if somebody wants to license it and go to Spencer County, whatever, they can go wherever.
And operate on a highway where it is allowed.
Well, I'll second.
And I have a second by Fourth District Magistrate Blamel. Sam, call the roll, please.
Blamel?
Yes.
Judge Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next, thank you, Kevin, Walt, Tammy, all those in the discussion. Surplus EMS ambulance that has 282,000 miles on it and needed multiple repairs.
Good morning.
Morning, Chris.
How are you?
Good.
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. So like Judge Summers said, we're looking to surplus this ambulance, 282,000 miles. It's a 2017 transit van. Pretty rough shape. It's been sitting for the last few months, needing $15,000 in repair. We've already got a potential buyer should we choose to surplus it.
If it was repaired, would you all use it? Or is it?
If it was repaired, we would use it until it broke again. Until it broke again. With 282,000 miles, and it being a 2017, it's in pretty rough shape. Yeah, I gave you a list this morning. It needs 2 engine mounts, power steering replacement, flush, possible replacement, valve cover leak fixed, 2 catalytic converters, and 2 oxygen sensors, totaling about $15,000.
How much? 15,000?
Yep.
How much is a new one?
New ambulance of that model is probably like $80,000.
Would it not be worth just to fix it and have it for?
Not in the shape it's in. We'll put $15,000 in it, and then
Say 15?
15.
Yeah.
We put $15,000 in it today, and then 3 months from now, the engine blows. Because, like I said, it's 282,000 miles and in rough shape.
Osage, then 2
Correct. One of their dealers are wanting to buy it.
Is that okay for us with that, if we're gonna surplus it, to just sell it to somebody without opening it up for everybody? Can we just handpick somebody to sell it to? I didn't think we could do that.
Generally, we put it on
Deals.
so that way.
I just wanna make sure it's legal. I didn't think we could just say, we know somebody wants to buy it, surplus it, sell it to them without having anybody else.
I mean, that's fine, whatever we have to do.
Yeah.
I mean, generally, we'll put it on Gov Deals, and it'll be open to the public.
Yeah.
to bid.
Maybe we can get more than 2,500 out of it.
I get less, but at least it's fair for,
I think on Gov Deals, you can set a minimum
You can,
on there.
yeah.
Yeah. No, we can do that.
I would
But-
do that and establish a minimum reserve of what they're willing to pay, and if it don't bring more, then we can sell it to them or something.
Mhm.
But it sounds like to me, it's for somebody out there, if it just takes 15 to fix it, and it's 80 to buy new, I mean, you could probably buy a motor for 10,000, that's $25,000, you're still way below the cost of replacement. There's a lot of people, I think, would want that. But I'm okay with doing the surplus, but as long as it's legal, to open it up to everybody.
Just put it in your motion to place it on Gov Deals.
I'll have that specific model.
It's a 2017.
I'll make a motion.
That was here before we got here.
2017 Ford Transit T350, put on Gov Deals.
Got a motion by Second District Magistrate Logston, a second by First District Magistrate Sanders to surplus the 2017 Ford Transit T350 and put it on govdeals.gov. Sam, call roll. Yes.
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 Thank you. EMS, we don't have any new hires, but what we do have is, to me, something that's really incredible. We conduct classes to have our EMS employees improve their skills, their skill set. We've had 9 EMTs pass the advanced EMTA program, and they're ready to go. And we did that training, we conducted the training ourselves. The quality of the training had to be really good for them to pass the test, because we've been through that before with outside agencies. In my first term, it didn't turn out so well. So the list is there. And this is EMS week. They all get their $2, what I'm going to say their $2 increase. And that's part of what we try to structure as a county all the way around, developing our employees and their skill set.
Yes, ma'am.
So with this being said, they're getting a $2 raise. However, we start a new budget first of July.
Correct.
So you're looking at another raise for them, correct?
Correct. They would get a raise based on their pay rate.
Based on
Whatever
their
percent, whatever percentage they're at, they would get that
Do
pay
you know
raise.
what percent of the raise most of them are getting? Are they getting the 5%?
Most of them will, no.
Because I kind of figured it up, and if y'all did go with the 5%, the county is looking at $53,000 more a year.
Have you looked at our budget proposal for next year?
I had been looking at it, but it wouldn't have this.
It does. I pre-built it in there because I knew they were in class, and I anticipated them all passing, so it's pre-built into that budget.
Okay, the next question, if you've got it built in there, the next question I guess would be to me is, how many more advanced EMT employees is there a cap on that?
From this class, we have one other student that unfortunately did not pass the first test, but they will be retesting. So one more from this specific class. But we hope to host these at least once a year.
How many?
We hope to host these at least once a year. until the entire service has advanced level providers. Doing that provides excellent care to the community. You no longer have these basic providers that can only do CPR, give you some oxygen and take you to the hospital. You have people that can fix a diabetic emergency, can fix your dehydration, can fix your chest pain. They can do a multitude of things.
So there's no cap on how many advanced and how many just EMTs, if you want, or paramedics?
That I want. We run
So, hey, I'm gonna jump right in here right now. So, to me, there is no limitation on what I'm gonna say, quality of care for people in an ambulance. No matter what the degree is, whether it's an EMT, MTA, or paramedic, or critical care, because where we're at with the community, we're one of the largest communities in the area. We have 2 ambulance services now. We're getting ready to do, we have the ability to be able to do, because of what we have taught, trained, and advanced this service, it's one of the best around. I don't want to limit, as this administration, I don't want to limit the amount of EMTAs or paramedics we can put in those ambulances for protection of our people or protection of the general public all the way around. We're going to have the ability right now to be able to do blood transfusions as well. One of the first services around, especially in this area outside of Jefferson County. So I'm not looking at saying you can only have so many EMTAs and so many EMTs or so many paramedics or quality of care paramedics. It would be like limiting the sheriff's department on what they can have for their resources and the quality of their training as well. The amount of employees is a little bit different to run an ambulance service.
I do understand what you're saying, Judge. However, if you have so many vehicles and you do have your EMAs on there, you can have an EMT along with your paramedic. Why does how many do you have on a truck?
So there's generally 2 people that ride per truck. An advanced EMT and an EMT could formulate a truck.
Okay.
Or an EMT and a paramedic could form a truck, or an advanced EMT and a paramedic could form a truck. 2 advanced could form a truck.
But there's always an advanced person with that EMT.
No, ma'am. Not currently.
So are you saying that you have EMTs on the truck with no advanced or paramedic?
Correct. That's the current condition.
That's where I'm getting at. How many? There should be a cap on how many you need.
Or a minimum, how many do you
Mr.
need? Like,
Carlisle, you're a lot better spoken
Do
with.
you understand what I'm saying?
Magistrate, if you don't mind, let me answer your question for you. My name is Jason Carl. I'm the operations manager. Work here for Director Hale. I think to answer your question is the number of advanced EMTs we would like everyone who holds an EMT certification only to become that advanced level, that $2 cap. That would be the best case scenario where Walgreens is on every corner and everything is all sunshine. That's probably never going to happen for a lot of different reasons, but we would like to have at least one advanced EMT on every staff ambulance with at least one paramedic or another EMT or advanced EMT. Paramedics are so hard to come by, especially in the climate around here, that the days of staffing paramedics on ambulances are pretty much done and over for the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Those are usually, when you see those chase cars flying around, those are the higher trained paramedics. The advanced EMT level is a stopgap between basic EMT and the full-fledged paramedic. Where a full-fledged paramedic has advanced cardiac life support drugs, intubation, surgical cricothyrotomies, finger thoracotomies, the blood products that we talked about, that really advanced medicine. The advanced EMT is the kind of in-between. They're the ones that we can still give you an IV, we can fix your dehydration, and they can give you some of the drugs that would happen in like the most common 75% of the EMS calls. Thus also saving those paramedics and making sure we can get them to the ones where they're going to need to be intubated or they're going to need to be sedated or have that advanced pharmacological intervention. So to answer your question, everybody that's an EMT, we would love to be an advanced EMT, but at the very bare minimum, we would like to ensure there's an advanced EMT on every ambulance. And currently, Our current staffing model is we try to staff 7 transport units during the day and at least 5 transport units a night, along with 2 paramedic fly cars and a supervisor.
And what I'm trying to get at is just like a hospital on a floor or in a doctor's office. They're not gonna have all RNs on the floor. They've got CNAs, different things.
You're absolutely right, and that's why we said we would.
That's what I'm saying, we have to look at money too.
You're absolutely right, and I do appreciate the comparison, but I also want to push back just a little bit. Unlike the hospital where I can holler and there's 30 people around me, these people are operating in the field independently by themselves. There's not a whole lot of help in the field. So when we have those more advanced practitioners with the more advanced skills, we can do a better service for our citizens. Not to mention that some of these, Bullitt County is still pretty rural and super rural in some areas. And a lot of times people call 911 and say they have a big toe problem, and you get there and they're having the big heart attack. It's just the nature of medicine. So again, making sure that we have those higher level and educated providers is paramount to making sure that we give good quality service to our community.
And speaking from experience, working in a hospital ER, we have this one critical patient that comes in. There may be one nurse assigned to that patient, but as soon as that critical patient comes in, the entire staff of the ER is dedicated to that patient. So that kind of plays into what he's saying. We're 2 providers. We don't have all the resources.
To me, I think, this is just my personal thing. I feel there should be a cap, how many EMTs you want, how many paramedics you want, and how many advanced.
In a perfect
Kind of
world,
like
we would
any
do.
other department, we have,
The only
two.
problem when you start to cap it like that, then you're really restricting people's motivation and goals to further themselves, and then they're gonna leave and go somewhere else. Oh, we're capped at so many
I
bad
urge
EMTs.
I urge you to reach out to Meade County. Meade County actually capped their level of paramedic providers that they're allowed. So they have paramedics that they've sent to school that is not being paid, and they're putting applications in elsewhere.
Any other discussion? I'm gonna put that in the form of a motion to, for the advanced, and congratulate the EMTs who have worked so hard to become advanced EMTs as well.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm gonna put that in the form of a motion for their funding.
And I'll second.
I have a second by 3rd District Magistrate Johnson. Sam, call the roll, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Hey, while y'all are up here, I'd like to, Justin's here too as well. Barry and me stopped by yesterday and, with the FEMA assistance program going on, but Justin and me were talking and I noticed there's quite a few sandbags around the front of your entrance of y'all's building. And I was inquiring, why those were still there. And through our conversations, it was brought up that there's no gutters on the whole front of the building. And there's a lot of electrical pipes and different things there, and I know the road department brought some gravel. I would like to make a motion that whoever wants to take the lead on that from your old building, but I like to make a motion that we accept bids to install gutters on the front of the EMS building. I think it needs to be done. All them people were standing there, water just comes off the front of the building. It's like gutters around everywhere else on the building, but the main part of where you walk in at is no gutters at all.
Gives me a bad hair day every morning I come to work and it rains.
There's some electrical piping there, and there's sandbags trying to prevent water from coming there, and it just don't make sense. So I'd like to entertain a motion that somebody with your department or building, accepts some bids for installing gutters on the front of that building.
Okay.
We'll build the bid request for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I can second it. Sam, call the roll.
Yes.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
Okay, Brian, you have anything?
No, I don't have anything else.
Okay. Karen?
I do not.
Sean?
No, thanks for everybody coming out.
Vera?
The only thing I have, I hope everyone enjoys the holidays that's coming up. Be safe.
And again, I'd like, Ms. Satterley's gone, I'd like to thank her for stepping up. Faith, Teresa, Mr. Satterley, thank you all for attending today. And Kevin is our special guest. And tell the mayor we got his park all lined out for him, Amber, the electrical park. Tell him not to worry about it. And again, have a great holiday. It is EMS week, so if you get a chance to see some of them, thank them for all they do. It was hospital week last week and nurses week the week before. So, and it's mental health court week too, right? Mental health court. It's mental health. Is that this week or last week?
Oh, the entire month is mental health
Health,
awareness
right.
month.
There you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
all of May.
So at this time, Vera, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. The time is 11 o'clock.
Second.
Got a second by 4th District Magistrate Blemo. Sam, call the roll, please.
Johnson?
Yes.
Blumel?
Yes.
Webb Summers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Austin?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you all.